Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Dad Whisperer. I am your host, Dr. Michelle Watson, and honestly, it is such a joy and an honor to have you here joining in this conversation with me today. And whether you're a dad or a daughter, I welcome you to this topic that I'm passionate about, which is helping dads become heroes. I want to help see the hearts, not just the heads, of fathers turn toward their daughters. And what I find is that whether you're a dad of a daughter or a dad of a son, the things that we're going to talk about are going to impact and empower you as a dad to get it right, because I know that's what you want to do. It's such a humbling and exciting day for me. I've got to tell you, this is the debut of my very first program. So thank you for taking the time to listen in, and I can hardly wait to get this conversation and this party started. So welcome, welcome, welcome. You know, I want to take some time today here right out of the gate just to introduce myself to you. So I get that on this first program, it's going to be a lot of blah, 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 me talking to you. And so I just want you to know that I'm grateful for your attention and your time, because here's the deal. I want you to know, how did I as a woman end up talking to men, right? I'll tell you honestly, I would have disqualified myself had God asked for my input on this whole thing. And it's been a joy beyond words. I've got to tell you that. Just that I have the privilege of coming alongside fathers and helping them to decode and dial in to the heart space of their girls. Okay, so you know that here on Venus, the planet that I'm from, right? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. There's always a backstory to every story. So here goes. Here's the backstory. It was about 7 years ago, in December of 2009, that I was reading in Luke 1 about how God told Zechariah that his son John would help turn the hearts of fathers to their children. And I heard this whisper from God that was just these words, Michelle, that's what I want you to do. And I thought, what? Okay, me? You're kidding. And 2 days later, I was blow drying my hair. I know. That has nothing to do with the story. But I just heard the words, the Abba Project. Abba means daddy in Aramaic, and men love a project, right? And so in January of 11, I wrote emails to 11 dads whose daughters at the time were my counseling clients. So I have a counseling practice. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. And 10 of the 11 dads said, yeah, we want to come meet with you, Michelle. They responded to an invitation to meet with me once a month for 6 months to see if there would be a change in them, their daughters, and their relationship. Is that amazing or what? Because I've had people say, Michelle, okay, men don't add more to an already full plate. And yet what I continue to find is I'm now leading my 8th group. We ended up going a year, that first group. Now we meet for 9 months every year from September to May. And these dads join together as a band of brothers, and they support each other. And you know what they call me? They're token female. I'm like, okay. And we meet together once a month, and these dads are literally blowing me away year after year after year with the way that they're learning to intentionally and consistently. Those are the 2 key words, intentional and consistent, as they dial in to the hearts. That's that emotional center in their daughters' lives. I see that dads keep coming because they're hungry and ready and longing to learn how to be a better dad to their daughters. And you know, I've asked these guys before, like, why do you guys do this? You're already busy. You're already maxed. You're already overloaded a lot of the times. Why do you do this with your daughters? And you know what they tell me every single year? It's because we love our daughters. That's why we're doing this. That's why we sit with a bunch of guys we don't know at the beginning of the year where it's awkward. It's because we want to have better tools to be a better dad. Because here's the deal. I target daughters between the ages of 13 and 30. That's the focus of the Abba Project. And I've had dads say, I wish I would have had these tools when my daughter was younger. And I say, well, here's the reason that I target adolescents on up, is because that's typically where girls are more verbal and more emotional, right? Okay, I'm not telling you as a dad anything you don't know, right? More verbal, more emotional. And a lot of dads go, you know what? I'm making it worse right now. Like when I lean in, I am making matters worse. So a lot of times dads turn to mom and go, here, you go in, you're a girl. And I go, no. You are the only dad she has. Even if you're a stepdad and bio dad isn't in the picture, the dad that you are is changing everything for her. And she needs you, your presence, your energy, even more than she knows she does. So you, dad, when you take initiative to look at her and listen to her and pay attention to her and pursue time with her, she internalizes that. Because here's the truth, dads. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be present. And you're going to need to soften your tone. And that's where I come in. Because I'm a girl, right? I have a finger on the pulse of what girls need from their dads because I've talked to a lot of them. I just counted it up, you guys. It's 37 years. I know, I'm aging myself here. It's been a long time that I have been connecting with girls. And that's why today I wanted you to hear a little bit about me, my passion for what I'm doing. Because the truth is, you're probably going, why should we listen to her? We don't even know this Dr. Michelle woman. And she's trying to tell us what to do. Well, the truth is, you guys, the reason I'm called the Dad Whisperer, that's not something I came up with. Okay, another backstory. Here you go. It was about 1.5 years ago, I was being interviewed for a book that I wrote for dads called Dad, Here's What I Really Need From You, a guide for connecting with your daughter's heart. Okay, that's the name of it. And I was doing this interview with Chris Fabry out of Chicago. And he said, you know what you should be called, Michelle? You should be called the Dad Whisperer. And it sort of stuck. So the truth is, this is a name that a dad of 9 kids, believe it or not, gave me, which was so honoring to me that he would call me that. And I've had another guy friend recently tell me, okay, Michelle, you really are the Dad Whisperer because you get the fact that we men don't like a woman shouting at us. But you seem to know how to speak to us in a way that we get. We feel your support. I'm telling you guys, there is no better compliment you could give me than that. And so I say again, I am so humbled. I'm so honored that you would give me your time and attention today. Because I've been traveling to Mars for 7 years, right? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I've been traveling to Mars for 7 years. So I guess you could say that I've been learning how to speak Martian, right? My native tongue is Venusian, but I'm learning how to speak Martian. And I guess you could say because of that, I'm bilingual. I'm getting there. I have a lot to learn, but I'm daily, weekly pursuing conversations with dads and learning how to speak your language because I've had men tell me over and over, here's what we want, Michelle. Practical tools, action-oriented tools, tell us stories, and give us things that work that we can do to fix the relationship. Okay, honestly. Okay, I want to see a show of hands. How many of you right now, driving in your car, wherever you are, at the office, listening to a podcast, raise your hand if you're a dad that likes to fix things? I know, you all do. So here's the deal. I want to put tools into your hands and picture me in the background whispering to you and go, okay, move a little bit to the right, raise your hand a little higher, say it like this, and then serve. That ball is going to go over the net way better. So here's the beauty of that. The power of that is that you get all the credit. Don't give away your source. I'm whispering that to you. You don't have to say, oh, Dr. Michelle told me this. I want you to get full credit, Dad, as you pursue the heart of your daughter. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. So here's my background, just so you get to know me a little bit. I'm the oldest of 4 girls. And so obviously my poor dad was outnumbered all the time. And I told you earlier, for 37 years, I've been either counseling or mentoring girls. I've had my own counseling practice here in Portland, Oregon for almost 20 years. I've been on church staffs, either as volunteer or paid. Done that for a long time. I've also spent a couple summers in camp ministry, so that's another thing I've done. And I, in terms of schooling, have a biblical education degree from Multnomah Bible College. It's called Multnomah School of the Bible back in the day when I went there. Yes, I'm aging myself, I know. I'm 56, so might as well just tell you I'm good with age. Might as well keep it all real. And then I have a master's in counseling psychology from Lewis and Clark here in Portland. And then I have a PhD in health psychology from Walden University. But separate from education, separate from my calling to be a counselor, really what is deep in my heart is a passion to lead worship. I did that for 7 years at Beaverton Foursquare. There's nothing like seeing people being led into the presence of God and watching men and women follow my lead that way. God often said to me, Michelle, I want you to lead that congregation where you've already been with me. So again, that's what I'm doing here, you guys. I have a passion that God gave me, a calling that God gave me to help turn the hearts of fathers to their children. And so that's what you and I get to do together, is open up conversations that matter, right? That matter. So if you're just joining, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name's Dr. Michelle Watson, and I am the Dad Whisperer. I'm author of a book called Dad, Here's What I Really Need From You, a guide for connecting with your daughter's heart. My website is drmichellewatson.com, DRMICHELLE, Watson.com. I've got resources on there. I've got a link to Amazon if you want to buy my book. And if you want to write me with questions that you have so that we can keep this interaction going, I want to answer questions on the air that you really have. And I'm going to be telling you stories along the way. I'm going to be telling you things I've learned, things daughters tell me. I'm going to interview dads and daughters and leaders at different times. And we're just going to change this up from week to week. And to tell you the truth, I'm not quite sure what that's all going to look like right now, because I'm just doing this because God called me to be a voice, right? God called me to be a voice of one calling out in the wilderness. And I want us to join together so that your heart can turn into the direction that you want it to go towards your kids, towards your daughter. So if you want to write me with questions, just write me at drmichelle@thedadwhisperer.com, Dr. Michelle Watson at thedadwhisperer.com, and we'll keep the conversation going, because I want to meet you at the place of your need and give you practical tools that actually work. How does that sound? Okay, let me give you the format now of how this is going to look, of how the program will look every week in this conversation. Is every week we're going to have 3 points, okay? So you can kind of visually, see this in your mind. And the 3 points are: on your mark, get set, go. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, what picture comes to mind when you hear those 3 words? I imagine, like me, you're thinking of yourself being in a race, right? So on the mark, all of you dads, can you picture that? You're lined up side by side on the mark, on your mark, because you're there. And I'm your coach looking at you. So we're making, we're kind of having visual accuracy there of seeing each other, okay? You're looking at me, I'm looking at you, and I'm like, come on. I'm cheering you on, but you got to run. It's your race, okay? On your mark. So every week on your mark is going to be where I'm going to give you a topic for the day. Get set, right? You're down into position. You're getting ready to run, but you haven't yet. And that's going to be the longer part of the format, where I'm going to give you stories, examples, directives in the get set part, and then go. It's your action step every week, your action plan, where you can do something to fix and enhance and kick up a notch your relationship with your daughter. How's that sound? Does that sound good? Because one of the dads in my group once said, no one wants to be the loser dad. I'm like, I know, right? So I want to, again, ally with your heart space and help you take the initiative to change your position to connect with your daughter. I think sometimes dads say, okay, you make no sense to me. If you can talk in a way that I understand, then we can have a conversation. I'm like, okay, hopefully you've never said that. If you did, go back and make amends. Because every daughter goes, I don't even understand myself. So how can I tell you what I'm thinking? Because here's the deal, dads. We girls figure things out by talking. Even if you have a daughter that's an introvert, she's talking to somebody. She's either texting or talking on the phone to her friends to figure it out. So you help us figure ourselves out by talking. Isn't that cool? I know, we give you too many words, but you give us such a gift, Dad, when you turn and lend us your ear. Okay, I've got a question for you. Do you happen to know what the very last verse of the Old Testament is? Okay, I'll be honest, I didn't know it till about 5 years ago, maybe 6. But the last verse of the whole Old Testament, right? Significant, because God knew he was signing off for 400 years. But here it is, Malachi 4:6, where God says, if the hearts of fathers don't turn to their children and children to their fathers, God says, I will come and strike the land with a curse. Okay, hello. We don't have to look very far, do we, to see the impact of curse on our nation, right? In terms of devastation and fighting and, okay, I'll just leave it in the general sense, the destruction, okay? The downward spiral. And yes, there's a lot of awesome things happening in America, but at the same time, if you trace a lot of it back, it has to do with either father wounds or father voids, where dad hasn't filled in the space or his heart, or he's hurt his sons and daughters. And though my ministry and my passion is more to the dad-daughter relationship, I want you to know that all of the things that I'm teaching, all of the things I'm talking about, also work with dads and sons, okay? Because God said it's the hearts of fathers that have to turn, not the head. Because here's the deal. We as girls, we as kids love the fact that our dad's head helps us, okay, figure out how to fill out a FAFSA, how to get a college application going, how to go to the bank and get a loan and fill out all the paperwork. You guys are awesome when you help us dial into head things. But isn't it interesting that God said it's your heart that has to turn? And that's where I come in as a woman helping men understand their daughters at a heart level, because that's where the difference happens. That's where the emotional connection, the healing happens. Okay? So here's the deal. I am going to give you way more words. I get that. You've probably already had more of them today than you can even handle. I know. Keep it simple. I know that's what you want, but we're going to have to meet in the middle. How's that sound? I'm going to give you more words probably than you want, 26 minutes a week. And yet, if we meet in the middle, I will try my best to make things succinct and action-oriented so that you can do them. And here's the deal. I have found over the past 7 years that men would rather do nothing than do it wrong. Do you agree or disagree? Men would rather do nothing than do it wrong. But here's the deal. Doing nothing is doing it wrong, you guys. Okay? Doing nothing is doing it wrong. But I want to help you do it right. And then if I give you an action step and you go home and try it and it bombs, here's what I want you to say. I know Dr. Michelle came up with that and told me to do it. Blame me. Roll me under the bus. Because I want you to know that I'm helping you become a hero that you want to be and that your daughter needs you to be. So if it bombs, blame me. I'm your fall guy. Does that sound good? Okay. So we've talked about on your mark, get set, and go. Those are the 3 steps. Okay. Are you ready for that today? You ready for the action step? Let's do on your mark, get set, go. Because I want you to have something at the end of today that you can take with you. Because the deal is, if you're just listening in now, you're going, who is this telling us as a man how to be a dad? This is nuts. This is a woman. Why is she doing this? Well, God's called me to do this. That's why I'm doing it. Like I said, I would have disqualified myself. If God asked me permission, Michelle, do you want to join up with me? I would have thought no. But he told me, Michelle, this is what I want you to do. And you know what? Dads, we're in very much the same boat. I was overwhelmed to do that. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just stepped out of the boat by faith. And I know that dads tell me all the time, oh my word, the older my daughter gets, the more lost I get. It was so easy when she was 5 years old and ran in the door and threw her arms around me and I could kiss her boo-boo on her knee and make it all better. But boy, now the problems are so much more complex and the dynamics of what my daughter's dealing with are so much more complex and her words are so much more complex. I'm saying, okay, dads, that's where I want to help you. That's where I want to help you. Because here's a really powerful statistic. And this is also part of the on your mark, get set. I want to give you information to get set so that your mind, your head can line up with your heart space. Is that research confirms repeatedly, there's lots of studies out there on the impact of dads to their kids. You probably know that already. And in fact, I'm even part of a study right now that a doctoral student is doing on the relationship between dads and daughters. And he's looking at what dads do right by looking at what's happening in the ABBA project. Is that cool or what? But here are the overriding themes in research that support the impact, the importance of your impact on your kids is children who feel connected to their fathers. Listen to this. They do better in school. They get better grades. They're more likely to finish high school and attend college. So if you want a smart kid, give your kid your attention. Do homework with them. Even when you don't get it, Dial in, encourage them, support them. If you want a kid who's going to be confident and have greater self-esteem, she needs you. He needs you. Okay? So that's kids that feel connected to their dads have greater self-esteem. They even have less suicide attempts, significantly decreases there in suicide attempts. They have less body dissatisfaction and healthier weight. So if you have a daughter that's struggling with her body image, with her self-esteem, with an eating disorder, she needs more time and attention from you, Dad. Kids who also feel connected to their dads delay having premarital sex, and there's decreases in teen pregnancy. I know I'm talking to the boys too here, because it takes two to tango, right? But do you realize that one of the most effective sexual abstinence programs, okay, for birth control is having dads connect at a heart level with their kids and with their daughters? Even kids who feel connected to their fathers, they're more likely to even find steady employment. They report less depression. They have lower rates of substance use, even drugs and alcohol. And they actually have less time in jail by 80%. I know, you're going to take that one to the bank. But do you guys get how important you are? In case you have somehow picked up in our culture that dads are dispensable, that you don't matter, I am telling you that is a lie. Because in my work over 35 years with women, with girls, with adolescents, I hear more wounds and tears coming down the cheeks of girls saying, I wish I was closer to my dad. You matter. You make a difference. Your impact literally will change the life of your daughter. So here's how we're going to end today. On your mark, get set, go. Okay? I'm Michelle Watson, Dr. Michelle. If you want to call me that, call me Michelle, call me whatever you want. I'm the dad whisperer, and it matters less that you give credit to me. You don't have to say where you got your ideas, because I want you as a dad to hit it out of the ballpark, to run the race before you. So on your mark today, the topic today is a 2-word tool. This is a 2-word tool that I have had more dads say they love and that they found to be effective than any other thing I've taught them. Okay, Yin, are you into this? Okay, here we go. On your mark, 2-word tool. I'm wondering. That's the tool today. I'm wondering. Okay, say it right now out loud. I'm wondering. Okay, now the get set is I want you to understand why this is such a powerful tool, okay? It's a story about Andy. Andy came to the Abba Project, a firefighter, a man's man, 4 sons, then a daughter, Megan, 17. And he's given me permission to share this story. It's in my book too. And he came and he said, you got to help me. My daughter literally skips school all the time. And I'll say, Megan, why didn't you go to school today? And he said, either the wall goes up and she says nothing, or the claws come out, like claws me and bites my head off. And he said, what can I do, Dr. Michelle? What can I do to connect with her? And I said, okay, I want you to put 2 words, I'm wondering, in front of that question. Try it out, come back and tell me how it works. He's like, well, I got nothing to lose. I'm coming over an hour to drive here to the Abba Project. I guess this will maybe give me my money's worth. So he goes home. Same thing happens. Megan skips school. He walks in, ready to, pounce on her and say, why didn't you go to school today? But he tries it the new way. And he goes, hey, Megan, I'm wondering, why didn't you go to school today? And she goes, oh, well, because. And he went, what just happened here? She started talking to him. And you know what? I told him, Andy, I know your tone changed. It had to have changed. Because the deal is, she heard your question before as an attack, and she went into fight or flight mode, coping mechanism, right? But you had to have softened your tone because you got a positive response. Isn't that cool? See, that's why he came back and said that right there was worth the price of admission to the Abba Project. And I have dads and moms tell me those 2 words have dramatically changed their interactions with siblings, between siblings. Kids have picked it up and done it with each other. I've had adults tell me between husbands and wives, between girlfriends and boyfriends, they've started putting I'm wondering in there. I've had people tell me it helps at work because you come in more curious rather than demanding and accusatory. So there you got it. On your mark, 2-word tool, I'm wondering. You heard how Andy and Megan found it to help their relationship. And now go is between today And next week, I want you to get out there and every single day, I want you to try with your daughter or your son to put the 2 words, "I'm wondering," in front of the questions that you ask your daughters. You good with that? You are going to see a difference. And I want you to write me at Dr. Michelle at the, got a new web address, Dr. Michelle at thedadwhisperer.com. Dr. Michelle at thedadwhisperer.com. Write me questions. Tell me how it goes, because I'm standing here cheering you on as a dad to your daughter as you help to unlock her heart and give her everything she needs. Thanks for your ear. Thanks for taking this time. It's been a joy to discuss this topic with you. To start off, how'd we do? We good, team? Okay, on your mark, get set, go dads.